Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1 Million by 1 Million is the first and only global virtual incubator accelerator in the world. And our aim is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue, build $1 trillion in global GDP, and 10 million jobs. And we have been doing these roundtables for a long time. This is the 224th episode of the program. And a lot of you have been participating, which is wonderful and gives us reason to be here. The event is being recorded. You will be able to follow our Twitter feed at 1M by 1M or at Sramana. And if you're live tweeting the show, please use hashtag 1M1M. Our Roundtable channel on YouTube is 1M1M Roundtables, and that's where you'll find recordings of all prior roundtables, as well as this one is going to be placed there. Folks, please keep your line on mute. Otherwise, you're going to stream echo into the call, and that's going to disrupt the session. These are the call-in instructions. I will put them back up later on when we're ready for call-ins. For the moment, we're going to start with people who have sent in their slides ahead of time, and we're going to work with a bunch of entrepreneurs who have their slides already placed with us. So we'll start with Greg Maltz. Greg, if you could please unmute your line and tell us what you're doing with Telepath Eye, that would be great.
Yes. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity to get feedback on my startup. I was founded a few years ago in the Bay Area, and in that time I've had 3 patents granted in the eye wearable space. So I had a concept for a smart glasses device that was before Google had announced Glass. And since then, I've been very fortunate that they developed the hardware, so I didn't have to. And on Glass now, I am developing my technology. If you could go to the next slide, please. So the value of what I'm developing is hands-free, voice-free operation of Glass and other eye wearable devices using a novel eye gaze technology based on eye tracking and also based on an interface that at its core is a virtual flywheel. So currently Glass and other eye wearable devices like the Vuzix M100 work by dictation, where you speak to the device and that's how it operates. And I view my customer as smart glass manufacturers like Google and like Vuzix, companies seeking to get handheld apps onto eye wearable devices are also an important customer for me because I can go to them with my interface as a means for them to develop their apps and get them onto eye wearable devices. Next slide, please. So the market for Google Glass and other eye wearable devices is forecast to be $10.5 billion by 2018. As we know, Google is having some difficulty in penetrating the consumer market, but for other types of verticals, including enterprise, deskless workers are a very important end user for eye wearable devices. So those would include, for example, people in warehouses who are taking inventory, physicians and surgeons, emergency staff like paramedics, and then military like soldiers who are operating bomb diffusing robots. So for Telepath Eye, our technology will initially be rolled out in the medical sector. So patients with Lou Gehrig's disease or paralysis, tetraplegia, central nervous system disorders, or other conditions that prevent the use of hands or voice are an obvious test market and an obvious end user to target. So our pilot program, which will, I just want to add that our pilot program will begin in the fall and will prove the use case for other types of end users So once the advantages of hands-free, voice-free are demonstrated in this initial test group, then it will become more apparent that other verticals and eventually the general consumer can benefit from this technology as well. So the success, as I said, in the initial market demonstrates the use case for others who do not want to speak to their device or poke at their device. Otherwise, really, what's the advantage over handhelds, right? I see the advantage of eye-wearable devices as being able to interface with the eye, and proving that is essential for my business. As more end users embrace smart glasses, there will be an opportunity to tackle the consumer market. But for my customer base, this will allow me to reach out to eye-wearable manufacturers to teach them to enable eye gaze technology. And Telepath Eye will position itself as the best in class for licensing its eye speech technology.
And have you had conversations with your target customer base whom you want to OEM this technology to?
Yes, I've had conversations with Vuzix and with OptInvent, which makes an eye-wearable device called the Aura S. And they really do see eye gaze technology as the holy grail of operating their devices. The technology isn't quite there yet, and I think a major reason is because predetermined targets in the display have not been established, and that's really what I'm trying to do. That's what my IP covers, and so I'm very optimistic about the future of this. So far I've
Google.
I've reached out to Google, but I don't know whether they're too busy or they're tackling too many. They're reaching out to too many other partners, but so far we have not yet have a conversation. Actually, they did express interest in me recently and had me sign an NDA, but so far nothing has come of that.
I see. Okay.
So my questions, I believe there are many areas where I could benefit from your insights, and I don't know if you want me to go through this list of questions now, or we could have a discussion based on them. But mainly yeah.
I mean, I think we can see your questions here. Let's not spend time reading those questions. I think the thing that I'm not clear about is what is going to be the addressable market for what you're trying to do. And I'm not looking for a total top-down total addressable market or total available market. I'm looking for a bottom-up market of how big a business can you build based on your portion of the wearables market. You have stated that 2018 forecast for wearables is $10.5 billion. Whether or not that is correct, the question that we need to understand or get an answer to is how big a business can you build based on your business model and your technology, and in what time frame. So that question is not, I have not seen any analysis of that in what you have presented today. So, that's one of the things that we require, and it's something that if you need help understanding how to build that model and so forth, we teach that in the program. So until you are, the point is to get to financing, you have many gaps in your business plan right now. And until you get to that kind of state, you will need to bootstrap. So it's almost by default that right now you have no choice but to bootstrap. Somebody is coming to the call. Can you put the line on mute? Okay. So with texting, you think texting is a killer app. I have no idea whether it is or it isn't. You have to test and validate and decide whether, that strategy makes sense. But there is a validation exercise in all of these assumptions that you're making. You're making assumptions about the medical profession that needs validation. And then you need to kind of think through exactly who are the partners for each of those, what kinds of business models are going to work, what does that mean for your opportunity for each of these segments, and so all that product roadmap questions, use case questions, all of that needs to be answered. And right now, your presentation is at a very high level, based on which investors at least cannot make any call on whether this is ready, whether it's fundable or not. And our methodology is that we make you do all that homework and line up all those pieces so that if you sit down, if you do get the opportunity to sit down with an investor, they will be immediately able to make a call on whether it fits their worldview or not. They still may decide to invest or not to invest, but you at least give them all the tools with which to make that decision on investment. So if you hang on, I will explain later in the program how we work with entrepreneurs, and if you decide that you want to work with 1M1M, you're most welcome to use the program and its methodology to build from here on.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. All right, we go to Jeffrey Fry next, Austin, Texas. Well Beyond Care. Jeffrey, if you could please unmute your line and tell us what you're doing.
Yes, good morning, Sramana. Good morning, world. My name's Jeffrey Fry, and here's all my little contact information. But what isn't on here is my partner in the start of this company. It's a woman named Lauren Tarrant, and she's a registered nurse with 35 years in home health, hospice, and psych nurse experience. And her partnership in this is going to make it credible going forward. And to just talk a little bit, this company was started in June of this year, but it came from another company that has since been closed down, due primarily to the dysfunctionality of the board. So essentially, what do we do? Right now, most of the care in America is delivered through private duty agencies. And those agencies, that market is estimated at somewhere between $31 billion and $40 billion a year. The boomers are aging. People want to age in their home because nursing facilities are getting too expensive. So our value proposition is that we do two things. We could save someone between $10K and $30,000 per year over a private duty agency, and at the same time allow caregivers to make $3 to $4 more an hour. So in doing so, we eliminate two problems, right? People have called us the Uber of caregiving, and that's kind of a compliment and an insult. One, it oversimplifies the market, and delivering care to elderly is very difficult, and it's not just a matching process. There's a lot more involved. So that's what we're addressing. Next slide, please. So what's our target market? Excuse me. Our target market is really people that are too wealthy to afford Medicaid and people that don't make enough money to afford $25 an hour for private duty care. And the people that we market to are the adult children of the baby boomers. So in order to do that, we have to understand we got to make it super simple for people to access into the healthcare community. And with that, one of the things that we do is that we supply a nurse care pair manager for everybody that comes online. Next slide, please. So part of what you're doing is that how do we acquire customers? And a lot of this is from previous history that we understand. The first thing is what we do is that we're an online company, first and foremost. So we disintermediate the middleman, essentially, which is private duty agencies that charge anywhere between $8 and $15 over what they pay their caregiver. So the first thing we have to do is optimize the access of people getting online, essentially. The other thing that we're doing, and this is kind of our secret sauce, we're developing a network of nurses that help us market our services into the local community. Caregiving is hyper-local. Just because you work in Austin, I have no effect in Houston, right? So you have to develop each little community on its own. And the best way to do that is with the most trusted profession in America, nurses. So if you look at that, the online growth starts to level out because we feel that we can't continue at a certain point. You reach a threshold. The growth is going to happen in developing our nurse care managers, which in 5 years we expect to have between 5,000 and 10,000 nurses referring people onto our online system. The next one is partnering with home health agencies. I don't want to go into the detail in it, but home health agencies have a real problem when they discharge people into the home and they're not getting proper care, because then they get readmissions to hospitals and they get dinged with the government because of the readmissions. And then the last one, believe it or not, is that yes, we work with private duty agencies. They see us as a threat, but some of us see us as a boon because they have such a hard time recruiting qualified caregivers that our system allows them to save a tremendous amount of money just using our caregivers and paying them a little bit more. Next slide, please. So here's the validation, and this is from the company that we closed down, right? So you have to say, how can you get traction? Where do you find customers, and how do you make your forecast, right? We were in operation for about 8 months, and during that time, we focused mostly on Texas, Florida, and California. We were having about 2,000 people coming to our site a month, and we were converting between 1 and 2 people a day to create an account. Unfortunately, the problem was the person that did the website made it very difficult for them to actually engage with a caregiver. They had a problem with the complexity of it. It was essentially they chewed off too much. They couldn't do it, and that was the bottom line. We now have a programmer that he did Convio, and Convio was a website that got sold to Blackbaud. It was a site that did fundraising for nonprofits. He's going to do our website now, and he knows he could do it. He's done a lot of these things before. So based on this, this is our traction, essentially. We feel we can meet our numbers really well. Our forecast is, in 5 years, to have 100,000 care pairs. And a care pair is where a person's receiving care and a caregiver is giving care. That's only 1% of the market. There's 10 million people that are getting private duty care in America. We're just focusing on the United States. So with that, at 100,000 people, we're approaching over $500 million a year in revenue. So that's our goal.
What is the model of your business? What is the business model?
The business model is that we train people on how to hire their own caregivers. And we do all the back office for them. So we do the scheduling, we do the billing, we do the payroll, we do the pill reminders, we give them access to the healthcare community through a registered nurse that they get assigned to them as soon as they sign up. And we save them, like I say, they could pay a caregiver $12 an hour. We charge them $15 because we charge $3 an hour. That's a savings.
Jeffrey, that's not your business model. What is the business model? That question means how do you make money?
Oh, we charge $3 an hour for every hour that is matched up. So when you hire a caregiver using our system, we charge a $3 adder and whatever you negotiated the price with the caregiver.
I see. Okay. So what are your questions?
My questions? Actually, I don't have. I don't mean to sound like I know it all, and I don't. But where we are right now, we're talking to investors. We are pretty close to closing a deal. We have a history with this already. So essentially, I've made all the mistakes already on somebody else's dime. I know that sounds very crass, and I don't mean to say that, but it was a learning process. And one of the things that we learned, which is really, really important, is that you can't just be an Uber for caregiver. Care.com has that problem. They can't do geriatric care management. They've raised $250 million. You got to be smart in doing this. And being smart with doing this is that you need somebody to hold the people's hand online in order to save money. And if you don't have that, you'll fail. Bringing a stranger into your home and giving a frail individual care is a very, very difficult.
Have you actually provided care in that mode to anybody?
Yes. We had 27 care pairs before we closed the site down. So we
27 caregivers or care pairs?
Care pairs, which we were doing about 1,000 hours. Excuse me, about 500 hours a week in care. So and that's how we do a census. So every hour that's worked, we just charge it up in a week. So 500 hours every week, we're doing that between a caregiver and a care seeker.
So you were actually making revenues in the company that you shut down in this model, this model that you're talking about.
Absolutely, yes.
And how scalable is it? Whenever it comes to stuff that requires actually people to scale, we see that it doesn't scale very well. What is your experience with scaling, and what is your assumption about scaling?
Okay, here's what we learned about. Here's the most important thing, the absolute critical thing on this. You have to make the user interface and the user experience so painfully simple that literally an elderly person can do it. Not a child, because a child could figure it out, but they don't have a lot of time and they don't have a lot of patience. So one thing that we found out is that the scalability of it, it's not dependent on nurses, but getting the nurses was relatively easy to do because they see this as a sea change in caregiving. When we did our training, and this was the aha moment that every startup hopes to get, we did a training, and in 2 different trainings, a nurse stood behind me, put her hands on my shoulder, and started to cry. And the reason why she started to cry is because she said, you finally created a company that I could do what I was put on this earth to do, is be able to do nursing. And so we haven't created a company, we've created a cult. And the cult is we're changing the way that care is delivered into the home and how it's done. So the scaling, to answer that, there's nothing stopping us in scaling. In other words, what happens is that I'm an engineer by trade. I'm not in the medical profession at all. So where we get traction, then we start backfilling with nurses. And until that time, we could do it remotely. We don't need a person on the ground. It's easy for us to get caregivers into the system. It's relatively easy for us to rate the caregivers based on interviews. We look at their resumes online. The ones that look good, we call them up, we do it. So we start to get that traction in any town in America. Once one happens, actually we had one in Asheville, North Carolina, and we're in Austin. All of a sudden, one person got on, and he needed something for his sister, and his sister lived 5 miles away. We had another person on. At that time, we said, oh, we got to get a nurse in that area. We advertised for a nurse. We train a nurse. Then we backfill. And so what is the great thing about it is that you spend a little bit of time up front in the actual engagement process so that they make sure they get the perfect caregiver for them. And that takes a few hours, right? But once that's done, as AT&T wants to say, you sell once and bill often. The engagement will last between 6 and 9 months per person. And like we're saying, we're getting 2 to 3 people on, or 1 or 2 people on a day. You'll get 2 to 3, 3 to 4. We'll backfill with nurses, which is the important thing. That's the metric.
Jeffrey, I think you're doing a lot of the right things. The scalability question, I don't think you understand fully, because we're not talking about 1 or 2 people, 2 or 3 people a day. We are talking about, can you build a $100 million company in 5 years? And that is a completely different order of scaling. And I think what you don't understand is the process of what is it going to take to scale to that level. You're an engineer by training. I think you need to pay attention to what is the marketing and scalability of this model. And that's the question. Go to sophisticated investors. This is a question they're going to want to know.
If you go back to the other slide that shows the growth.
That's okay, Jeffrey. You can sort this out yourself. I'm just asking you a question that you need to research, and I don't need an answer right now because I have 3 other people that I need to speak with.
Thank you. Good morning.
I think you have something very interesting here. It's definitely worth fleshing out, but don't underestimate the scalability issue, because these kinds of businesses hit their issues with investors and everything on that scalability point.
Our scalability is with partners. That's what we're doing. So with home health.
I don't know the answer. So don't try to answer this question right now. I don't think you know the answer.
Thank you, Sramana. Bye-bye.
All right. Anna, you're up next. Anna Lopez.
Hello. Good afternoon. Well, good afternoon in London. Good morning.
Where are you located?
London.
Okay. Tell us. What are you working on?
Okay. First of all, my name is Ana Belén López Santiago. I am the founder of OPAD.com, which stands for One Project at a Time. Can you please go to the next slide? So I have been in the broadcast industry for over 10 years. I am a telecoms engineer. And what I have experienced, and many of my colleagues have as well, is that the way work is created now is you are either a permanent employee, so you are part of a big or small organization, a project gets commissioned, and then it goes through many levels of management teams until it gets to the person actually doing the job. Or you can also work as a contractor, so then you have the project commission, and then you go through many recruitment agencies until you really find the person doing the work. So what I was thinking is that there has to be a better way of working. There has to be a more agile way, and with one way which offers more flexibility and freedom for the worker. Next slide, please. So how about working one project at a time? And this is our website. So as you can see here, this is a place where we are a community of online freelancers and online technology projects. It's a curated community. And in this place, you will find that technology freelancers offer their services, and technology projects can be posted, and they can talk to each other. Can you please go to the next slide? So this is one example of one professional listed in our website. Next slide, please. You can see what he does, the skills that that person has. You can contact that person. And in the same way, one more slide, please. Next slide, please. You can post a project, and then these two parties can talk to each other. So you might think, so what is this? Is there any difference between this website and Odesk and Freelance and peopleperhour.com? Well, yes. First of all, we don't charge anything to the freelance because we don't control what that person is doing, and also to be able to charge a fee and to be able to say whether that job has been properly done or not, you really need to know very, very well what they are doing, and it's very difficult to know that. So what we want to do is charge a fee to the companies or individuals posting projects. Can you please go to the next slide? You might think, why is this a good investment? Well, nowadays, these are some figures for the UK and for the US. There are 1.4 million freelancers in the UK. In the US, 20 to 33% of the workforce is freelancer, and it is estimated that in the next 5 to 6 years, that figure could reach 40% or even higher. And for the new generations, this is the way to go. Why I decided to start this company in London? Because when it comes to Europe, this is the technology and media hub. This is the place to be in Europe. I am using reliable partners because I don't want to be worried about unnecessary things. I'm using Google, Amazon Web Services, WordPress. Hopefully I will find good investors that could help me. And do we have an extension plan? Yes. We will introduce a review system so employees can review the companies and vice versa. And we will also like to introduce a section for massive open online courses because we need that. It's essential to keep your knowledge updated all the time and to keep learning new skills. Can you please go to the next slide? So what our business model? At the moment, we are running a grace period in which you can post your project for free, but after October, November, we would like to start charging £50 per project, or you could be charged £150 per month, and then you can post unlimited projects. We have some estimations for 2014, 2015, and 2016. We have some estimation about how much we would like to have an investor invested in us and the way of recovering or buying back your percentage in our company. And can you please go to the next slide? Basically, this is all bad. So I'd like to know your opinion, and also I'd like to know how we can get more freelancers and more projects, because this is the main problem we are facing now. It seems that whenever we mention this to companies and freelancers, they like the idea, but it's taking us it's taking us a lot of effort to materialize that, oh, this is a very good idea, into actually having new members in our website. So we would like to know what you think.
Sramana, I don't see any benefits yet of why I would want to use your community versus Odesk or Elance that have, today we use Odesk very extensively. We hire from Odesk very extensively, and it's got a very, very large community of vendors. And similarly, vendors use, freelancers use those communities very extensively because there's a very, big community of companies and individuals who are posting projects. So these are they're mature communities. So now the concept is well understood. This concept has been around for a long time, and there are many of these communities, and some of it has started to consolidate, like Odesk and Elance have merged now and so forth. But to start a community like this new today, if I'm planning to do this on either side, if I'm a freelancer or a company that's trying to post projects and hire freelancers, I have no reason to consider a community that doesn't have activity. If I want to post, hold on. If I want to post projects, I want to go to a place where there are freelancers. And if I'm a freelancer, I want to go to a community that has projects. Why would I go to you?
Well, the first thing is that we are concentrated only on technology. I don't do other activities.
You don't have people. You don't have Elance and Odesk have plenty of technology freelancers. That is one of their biggest businesses.
Well, but that's what I need. I need more people, and also my intention is to offer courses.
It's too late for you to get into this business. It's the market is already mature. I don't see the justification of your getting into this business in at the end of July 2014. This market started back in the mid-90s. So 20 years later, this market is quite mature. Unless you have a very sophisticated, differentiated angle, I just don't see how you're going to make this business work today.
Mm-hmm. Well, the way I see it is that for big companies, and I've been working for quite a few ones, quite a big ones, for over 10 years, they have plenty of projects queuing up because they can't seem to find the right people. So if I can see.
So go look at work market. The large company market is served by a company called Work Market. Go take a look at that.
Well, but if you need an engineer specialized in broadcasting protocols, there is no place where you can find that person right now. It's pretty difficult.
But if you can't find that person, that's a technical recruiter's job to go find that person. If you want to become a technical recruiter for custom projects, that's a whole different business. But the business that you're proposing to do is the equivalent of Odesk or Elance, or if you're specifically focusing on enterprise customers, it's Work Market. But if it's cherry-picked specific expertise, that's a technical recruiter's job.
Well, I think if there is a place out there where you can avoid a technical recruiter, there is a market for that, because there are some companies, even though they have substantial projects, they are tired of being charged over £1,000 for a day for an engineer when the engineer gets £500.
No, why don't you look at the Work Market case study? It's on the 1M1M blog. It will explain to you exactly what's happening in that industry and and how this Work Market is delivering. And if you decide to do that business and compete with Work Market, you can. But right now, what you're saying is you want to compete with Odesk and Elance, which I would recommend you do not do.
Okay, thank you.
Because that's not a viable business plan today. Sitting into 2014, competing with Odesk or Elance is not a viable business plan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, Sana Salam, you're up next.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Very good.
Where are you dialing from, Sana?
Toronto, Canada.
All right. Tell us.
Very good. Okay, hello, I'm Sana Salam, and I am the founder of Sadala Solutions. I didn't put all the links, just the website link, but I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I used to work as a turnaround project manager on failing enterprise projects, especially in the SAP sector, and that's what motivated me to start my own company last year. So we are just an 11-month-old company. So that's a bit about my introduction. If you go to the next slide, I'll tell you about our business. We saw an opportunity that within the mobility for companies to run their business processes. And that's how we started our company, because we noticed that out of 250,000 big, large enterprise customers, only 6,000 had adopted mobility. And while all of our competitors at that time were going after a very complex platform type of approach, we interviewed the customers, about 60 customers large customers across North America, and worked with them to figure out what is it that was stopping them to adopt mobility. And that is the problem that we addressed, and that is what they wanted, something very simple, cost-effective, and rapid approach for bringing mobility within their firm so that they can get the executive buy-in and the business case, and that can get them started. Otherwise, it was just a nice to have for them. So we brought that approach to mobility, and we became the first SAP partner to do that, and for that we were given an award. Our whole approach is about how we can leverage customers' existing investments, and the team that we brought was a product team from SAP Germany, and working on all the latest innovations. And in doing that, we also focus on how we can simplify the processes of the customers, because they haven't been focusing on that. They've just been working on optimizing what they have today. So that's a little bit about our background. If you go to the next slide. So far, we've been given an award by Microsoft on behalf of SAP, because we were able to prove that the way we design our solutions work with any platform. Then we were also presented to Google by SAP, and we were showcased on one of their events. Our products were showcased, and that was just 3 months ago. And also, we became the benchmark application developer from SAP side as a partner. And now we are working with their co-innovation team to design the next innovation. So that's a little bit about our background on the enterprise side. What we did was we looked at what could we do to expedite the process for customers to adopt mobility, and also process simplification. And we knew that mostly the CFOs approve the budgets, and they're the ones who give the executive buy-in. So we focus a lot on creating R&D solutions within our firm that would act like speed up or accelerators, and would also entice the CFOs to spend the dollars or allocate budgets on mobility. And that strategy worked really well, because so far we've approached, through our initial connections, about 35 large companies, and out of those we were able to convert 5 of them very easily, and then set up partnerships as well. So that's those are our in-house work. Our value proposition is that we save customers money, and we bring a rapid approach to mobility, and everything works with every platform, doesn't matter if it's SAP or non-SAP. And that was a big differentiator for SAP customers, because today they're using many non-SAP platforms, including Microsoft. We want to only focus on small to medium business companies, and that's because we think that if you are a very large company, you are going to need a more complex platform-based approach, and then our solution might not be a good fit for them. The third thing we did was that we brought all the design thinkers, and we're all certified in innovative design thinking, and that has become a big differentiator for us. So far, what we've noticed is at one of the companies where we just won a project, we were competing with one of the big fours, and this became our one of the main differentiator. Our team expertise with business process, we have a very small team, but all-star team. Like, one of the person in our team was the most valued person at SAP, and so our team expertise are very, very crucial for that's our competitive weapon. We see a big opportunity. However, we don't just rely on these numbers that we saw on Forrester Research. We did our own research. I did not put it in for this deck. for just privacy reasons. But in our research, we looked at all the small to medium-sized companies who have more than 20 employees. And then we looked at if the adoption rate of mobility, what is the money that they spend on IT projects, and what would be the money that they would be willing to spend on mobility out of that IT budget. We put a very low percentage, 4%, and just a little bit increasing over the years. And we said out of that, if we just get 0.001% of that market, then what is the amount of money that we can make? And we were able to demonstrate that if we are able to target that market or reach to those customers, we can make our first 10 million in the next 3 years. But that, of course, requires marketing as well. So that's our estimates and financials are very different than this opportunity size that we're looking at. That's the overall opportunity size. If you go to the next one. Again, I just want to focus on this is our customer segmentation, and the whole customer segmentation came out after a lot of experimentation and failure. And after working with customers and figuring out what are the niche white spaces that nobody else is filling up because of that proprietary knowledge or skill, and that's what we are targeting. If you go to the next one, our acquisition strategy also came after a lot of experimentation. We do a lot of social media marketing, not through pay per click, but through knowledgeable informational documents. Right now, we have a lot of hype for our blogs. In fact, they get retweeted on some of the big companies like Microsoft and SAP. They retweet our blogs on their Twitter account because we have good content. We also do a lot of events now at SAP. They are actually sponsoring some of our marketing events on their budget. We also are able to convert the leads because we don't go after a lot of customers. We try to focus on our small segment, and that allows us to have a higher rate of conversion. And in this case, we were able to convert up to 15% of the leads that we generated. We also set up partnerships, and in this case, we know that if we work with really large partners who are serving the enterprise industry, we would be working as subcontractors, and we won't be able to build a brand. So what we did was we went to small partners who are serving niche markets and cannot afford to have new diverse service or product lines. So we went to them and partnered with them. And that generated a lot of leads, and as well as a brand new customer for us right away. And we approached 5 of them, and 4 of them, we were able to set up partnerships right away. So this is all the progress that I showed you is in the last 4 months since our product launch or our I would say application launch. So that's our strategy. We, unlike all the other partners, we don't do documentation or that kind of work in the customer acquisition. We actually do a very low fidelity prototype, and that right away excites them to give us the business. Customer validation, we worked with the customers to start the company. We had about 35 volunteers from different customers, large customers. In the pre-launch stage, we brought the same customers to test our products and then give us feedback. In the post-launch stage, we gave a lot of proof of concept to different customers, and recently we've sold to 2 of the really large brand names through this approach, although we were initially targeting small to business customers. So that's a bit about our customer validation. We don't want investors right now. We think that we want to learn more about, and focus more, have a more narrow strategy. We are looking at crowdfunding and preparing for a pitch for that, for Greedy Giver. Bootstrapping is one of the things that kept our company going, and we will be reinvesting our service revenue back into the company. And we actually also collected a lot of donations from our schools and colleges and brought young people to volunteer to keep running the company so far.
So current revenue, Sana?
Yes.
How much revenue are you doing now?
I would say, when I say revenue, right now the customers that we've acquired and we're working on, these are new projects that we have started. So our expected revenue up to the end of this year would be over 200,000.
Okay. And how many people do you have in the company?
We have mostly contractors, so we have about 15 people. When I say contractors, the way we've set it up is the most important and crucial people we've set up a strong partnership model with them, and we wanted to keep our fixed cost low and have a variable cost, and that's why we use this model. So we have about
to deliver your projects with the $200,000 worth of projects. Are you going to be able to cover the costs with the revenues that you're making?
Absolutely, yes. And you know, this money that we're looking for is really going to be used for marketing because we think that the opportunity is up now, and we want to leverage that, and to also do our own R&D for new innovations.
So these contractors who are working for you are not going to be taking compensation for the projects they're delivering?
That is how we will be compensating them, because we have a cost that goes to them as their pay, and then we have a charge that is, you know, our own margin, and then also a buffer for our contingency. And so that should cover.
How much cash flow do you expect to generate this year based on which you would be able to grow the business?
Well, that is a really good question. And I said we are in the initial stages. The 3 big accounts that we've acquired, some of the work will be done this year. So that would give us enough to go through this year. But you know, this is why we need funding, and we need to know what are the low risk funding approaches that we can.
This company has to be bootstrapped, Sana, and I don't think crowdfunding will work. So I wouldn't waste time on crowdfunding. I don't know if government funding is there. I don't know what Canadian government funding options you have. I haven't looked into that, but bootstrapping is how these kinds of companies are built, and we have very extensive methodology on bootstrapping, and we can guide you quite closely on that front. So if that's the decision, if you decide to go that route, and if you want help, we'll be happy to help you.
Very good, right? And that's what we think as well. We don't think we are ready for an external investor right now. We want to go that.
The business, the way it stands, is not going to be externally fundable at the moment, so don't waste time on that.
Okay. Sounds very good.
Okay. All right. We have Siddharth Das next.
Hi, Sramana, and hi, everyone. My name is Siddharth. I'm from Bangalore right now. I'm also joined by my CEO, Bijal, who is in Palo Alto, California. So I represent Octurn. We'd like to present our company next. Octurn is a company which makes companies of all sizes more competitive. We are primarily focused on SMEs and startups, that is the early stage and late stage startups. The primary services include global delivery of technology services, knowledge process outsourcing, engineering services, and business process management. So one of the USPs that we have are for any company which works with us is minimal capital investment, low operational risk, access to a worldwide pool of skilled resources, and significant cost efficiency. A little bit about our background. We were founded in 2004, and we are part of Volt Information Sciences, Inc., which is a 60-year-old Fortune 1000 organization with worldwide delivery centers. Next. So what sort of demographics do we pursue? So the kind of customers that we have covers a wide range of industry verticals. As you can see, a lot of them. They are currently scattered around those industry verticals. And we have practice areas which are very diverse because we address to different needs of our customers. And the geographies that we work in are North America, Europe, Asia, and South America. As I said, I think. Yeah, so our parent company, we have around close to 35,000 odd employees, and in India, we are currently around 400 employees.
Why are you here?
Yeah, so I would discuss that, Sramana. I would like to, the idea of coming here was to kind of see how we can leverage our competencies versus the network that you have. And I would like my CEO also to speak to you on that. So he will connect with you after my presentation.
This is not the right forum for this presentation, frankly.
Sure, but I think the idea here was to sort of understand where we can, sort of build our strengths, because we are pitching in the small medium segment in the U.S. and we would like to grow our presence there. The idea here is obviously to see how you can help us sort of use our strengths with the existing networks that you have. So that's the main, sort of reason of getting into this.
Work with all companies. We don't work with companies with 25,000 employees. Our whole business is about helping small companies get to a certain scale. I mean, if you're talking about using consulting services to scale your relatively large company, that's a whole different discussion, and I don't think this is the right forum for that discussion.
Well, I think, Sramana, I did mention to you when we first connected that, we do work with small, medium firms, and our objective is to sort of...
So we are not going to have you market your services to our network. That is not something we're going to let you do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But how does your network benefit? Like, obviously the idea here is to see that your network benefits from us because it's sort of a mutual.
That is not a service that we offer. We have a very large network, and we do not let companies market to that network. That is not what we are all about.
Okay. So can I let my CEO speak? I mean, Bijal, sure. I think he's joined the conversation. Yeah.
Go ahead.
He's an attendee, Bijal, so can you please give him the...
Yes, I'm on the phone. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Good morning, Sramana.
Good morning.
I hear you loud and clear. I actually would like to apologize for me wasting your time this morning. I had a couple of questions around it. I think Siddharth probably misunderstood what this forum is about, but regardless, I would like to say hello and apologize for wasting your time right now. Sorry.
Okay. So, folks, we're going to have some time for Q&A. I know there are a lot of people in the room, and if you want to discuss anything in any of your situations that you're working on, I will open up the line for Q&A. So line up your questions. You can use public chat, and I will also put up the phone line dial-in information so that you can dial in to that call. Meanwhile, I'll explain to you a little bit about how to work with 1M1M. And even before I do that, I want to request you to, if you like the way we work, please refer serious entrepreneurs to 1M1M. And the word I want to stress is serious, because it's a lot of work to build a company. And it takes years, it takes tremendous amounts of heavy lifting and commitment and, basically a very stressful journey. And only people who are real entrepreneurs, real serious entrepreneurs can sustain that journey. It's not an overnight, instant gratification kind of process. And we're always interested in connecting with real entrepreneurs, not the ones who are just kind of fly-by-night types, but we are interested in finding serious entrepreneurs who want to use our platform to then build up their expertise. So in terms of resources, everything is at 1mby1m.com. You will have access to the blog for free, which is an incredibly rich, content-rich blog. And you will be able to learn a lot if you follow that blog regularly. In addition, we have the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, and we have 8 books in that series so far. A 9th book is coming in September. You will soon start hearing about it. These are books where we have tried to simulate the experience of creating a process where you can sit down with a very experienced entrepreneur and learn their lessons from the trenches. It is kind of a scalable mentoring exercise, so to speak. So, if you're looking for a kind of entry-level process of getting familiar with the 1M methodology, I strongly recommend you start with the books, and the books are very, very low priced. They're all available on Kindle, and you can start getting familiar with this process of how to learn from other people who have traveled the path of entrepreneurship, and you can learn a tremendous amount. So that's the philosophy of the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, and that philosophy translates also into the 1M program. This is what the site looks like. We have lots of videos where you will also find answers to your frequently asked questions. These roundtables happen every week on Thursday morning Pacific time, usually. So this is, the next roundtable is going to be our 225th. We've been doing this for a long time. Then we have, so you can go to the free roundtable page on the blog and go ahead and register to either pitch or attend, and Maureen will work with you to schedule you for an upcoming session. In addition, we have a premium program which has $1,000 annual membership fee as its model, and in that you get extensive methodology guidance. We have a very strong curriculum. I'll tell you more about it in a moment. We help you with business development, introductions to customers, channel partners, and so forth. We help you with strategy consulting, which is essentially similar format as this, but in private members-only sessions. We also help you with financing, and we help you with media relations to get coverage. The $1 Million Club is a link that you could follow to get introduced to some of our successful entrepreneurs. The 1M value equation is an ROI analysis of the program. We give you $375,000 worth of value for plus 5 to 10% of equity for just a $1,000 annual membership fee. It's an incredibly high value program, and we have deliberately priced it at a dramatically low price point to give it scalability. So entrepreneurs from around the world are welcome to use the program and use the methodology, which is a very good proven methodology at this point. We've been now, we're coming up to our 4th year of running the program, and a lot of entrepreneurs have benefited. And so we know how to help you move from point A to a more advanced point where you will have made progress with your business. So rather than, fussing around and kind of moving in circles, if you follow the methodology and follow the guidance and the mentoring of these 600 plus entrepreneurs that we've been able to bring onto the forum to share their strategies, there is a tremendous short-circuiting of the process that happens. We also give you lots of orientation material to teach you how to use the program effectively and how to extract the maximum value of the program. The self-assessment is a piece that we have available for free on the site. You should take a look at it. It's something that you should ask. These are questions that you should ask yourself. Basically, the way I think about it is you are an investor in your own business, and you should ask the questions that are articulated in the self-assessment of yourself and your business to figure out where your gaps are. And if you are a premium member, then we have provided the curriculum models to also fill some of those gaps. So we have lots of information on the website, on the premium program, what to expect, video FAQs, and so forth. The curriculum is designed as core and elective and is delivered as video lectures with lots of case studies. We have had over 600 case studies of serious entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs who have come to the forum and shared their strategies, and we have stitched it all up into a video lecture and case study-based curriculum that is really working very well. So our core curriculum addresses 7 major topics: bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, financing, customer acquisition, and team building. Electives-wise, we align with various segments of the industry where we see a lot of action: Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing and business solutions, which includes big data, Internet of Things, and a variety of trends that are coming up in that sector. Outsourcing and consulting. Many of you are building services businesses. We saw a couple today. That falls within the outsourcing and consulting elective. Mobile and social apps, healthcare, IT, online education, gaming. These are all elective modules. We've just added a couple of new electives, one about women entrepreneurs, and we seem to, there are a lot of women who want specific guidance about the issues they are facing in the entrepreneurship world. And then we've added another new elective called Unicorns, which is building billion-dollar exit value or billion-dollar market value at IPO companies. So these are new additions to the elective modules. Our methodology is lean, capital-efficient, bootstrap startups. Even if you raise money later on, and we have companies who have raised tons of money. We have one company that has raised $44 million. They started in the program at a bootstrap stage with no investment, nothing, and now have, over the course of the last few years, have gone on to raise $44 million. But you have to start with this lean, capital-efficient bootstrap model, build value, build valuation, build credibility, build your fundability, metrics, and then you can get funding. And that's something we are very mindful about, and we guide you very well to navigate that very lean early stage of the business. And then if you've got some amount of revenue going, we also help you figure out how to get to the next level. So, we have the ability to guide you through a lot of the early stage process, going on to million and then beyond. We also have companies that are doing well over $1 million, somewhere even into the 5 million range. But our focus is on the early stage businesses, and that's why I decided that it was not the right forum to have a $25,000 people company present here, because that's just not the right use of our services. Now, it's very important for all of you who are trying to build businesses to get coverage in the media. It is essential for you to get social proof, as we call it, with some media coverage, so that when customers, channel partners, investors look at you, they see that, okay, you've been out there, other people have written about you, and so forth. However, we learned that it's extraordinarily difficult for entrepreneurs, early stage entrepreneurs, unless you have big funding announcements to make, to get any coverage in the media. So we have a lot of clout in the media, and we mitigate those challenges for you on your behalf and help you get coverage. So if you go to the press page, we have a page that is specifically dedicated to coverage of one-on-one and premium members, and you'll get a feel for the amount of coverage we get you. And also, we give you full access to all our social media channels, so Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, our blog. We cover you on our blog. So there's an immense amount of social media coverage that we help you access through our channels. We do have an affiliate program, so you could conceivably become a partner of 1M1M if you are in the business of entrepreneurship development or entrepreneurship media, and you want to monetize your network. You are welcome to become a partner of the 1M1M program. Upcoming free roundtables are 7th, 14th, and 28th of August. We do not have a roundtable on the 21st. And Vision India 2020, by the way, is another book that we've done that has $45 billion business ideas. So if you're still in an ideation stage, this book is a very good aid for ideation. And it's written as business fiction, so it's a fun book, as if we are sitting in 2020 having built on these ideas, and there's a lot of strategy and everything that we map in that process. We have a program called the 1M1M Incubator in a Box, and this enables companies, investors, governments, schools, entrepreneurship development organizations to easily, rapidly, and affordably launch an incubator or expand their existing incubation services. And we work with a lot of different corporations, especially using that platform. These are some of our new, relatively new books, and we are ready to take your calls. So if you would like to call in, just follow the instructions on your screen, and you can also ask questions in the public chat. So I will go into the public chat and start picking up questions there. Feel free also to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're joining from, what project you're working on, what kinds of issues you're facing, how did you hear about 1M1M. This is also the networking part of the program, so you're very welcome to take advantage of that networking piece. Okay, let me go through the questions and comments here. So Anne Clark, you are asking for some module that you could not locate in the curriculum. There is a module called market sizing that goes through in excruciating detail how to do bottom-up TAM analysis, Anne. So it's one of the core modules, right, in the main menu. So there is no reason why you cannot find market sizing. If you have any difficulty at all, please contact your customer service person, Saikat at 1mby1m.com. I'm sure you are already in touch with him. Ken Anderson, how do you work with entrepreneurs who want to be exposed to your protocol and process but don't currently have a business idea? That's fine. You can, if you don't have a business idea yet, just start immersing yourself in the sign up for the premium program, start studying the methodology, going through the case studies, and I guarantee you that if you do that, you will be able to come up with business ideas. John Phillips from Digital River says, enjoyed listening in. Siva Nandigam, how will you support entrepreneurs who have strong business idea, team, and no financing is needed, but unable to close deals with clients? So we do a lot of that work. We have tons of bootstrapped entrepreneurs. We guide them on positioning, and there could be a lot of things wrong on why you're not able to close deals. It could be a positioning problem. It could be your sales cycle problem, sales process problem. We will work with you to diagnose what the problem is and advise you on how to solve that problem. So please don't send me private messages. I would like you to send public messages since we are right now doing a public roundtable. Let me copy and paste something that is coming here. So I think Sana Salam has sent a bunch of messages to Maureen privately. Let me address that. I assume Sramana is suggesting that I should work with her as a premium member to learn more about bootstrapping. So signing up for the premium program is the next step, right? That's exactly right, Sana. To help you further, you would need to be part of the premium program. And the program is delivered online, and part of it is in web self-service mode, where you're going to learn using the curriculum. And then we also have roundtables like these that are private roundtables for premium members only, where we do the interactive coaching. So you need to do both of them. Both of them are used extensively in helping you develop your business. Siva Nandigam, which program you suggest I'm not sure what you're talking about, Siva. What is the question? How will you support entrepreneurs who have strong business idea, team, and no financing is needed? Oh, so I answered your question already. Okay. It's the same program. We only have one program, that is the 1M1M Premium program. If you want to work with 1M1M, that is the program that you will have to join, and it costs $1,000 annual membership. You can sign up online. It's very easy, very simple. It's working phenomenally well for people who are using the program. Minu Kumar is asking, is it wise to make a creative studio into a scalable company? Minu, there are a lot of companies that have built sizable creative studios. So, you know, it really depends on your skills and what your differentiators would be and so forth. But you could get a creative studio to scale to a, you know, significant level. Now, can you build $1 billion company out of it? I don't know. Depends on what techniques and strategies do you use. If it's a pure services company, it is harder to scale to billions of dollars with pure services companies. Having said that, there are tons of outsourcing companies that have scaled to billions of dollars. Now, folks, let me introduce you to Irina Patterson. If you have questions about the 1M1M program, if you need any kind of help or hand-holding in joining the program, you are very welcome to contact Irina Patterson. Her phone number is 786-301-2456. Her email is irina@1mby1m.com, and her Skype ID is irina_Patterson. Okay. Anybody else? By the way, I haven't seen a lot of introductions. We'd love to know who you are, where you're joining from, what are you working on. So we're missing the networking bit of the audience. Anybody? Questions, comments, introductions? Minu Kumar is from India, running a product video studio, okay? Okay, well, if you don't have any further questions or comments or don't want to introduce yourself, then we'll wrap up the session and we will see you back here next week. Please go ahead and book your slot if you want to do a presentation, and Maureen will be in touch with you with further instructions. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here, and we look forward to continuing to work with you. Bye-bye.